Right here. All right. All right, I'm trying.
Oh,
I don't want to break your
unbelievable.
stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now what makes this car special is that this is actually a pilot car. And it has the fender tag to prove it. It's stamped Pilot, still has the original Dale, the owner still has the original fender tag. It's pretty rusted out, but you can still see where it says Pilot. And this car brought back to its glory.
That's right. Well, I've known Dale for years, and I've known this car for years. We dragged it up here for barn finds. I don't know what year it was. It was 2014? 2013. We had it at the Forge Muscle Car Show in Marysville, Tennessee, and it was in blue, homemade stripes and stuff. But Dale, I think you're going to have to join the show here and give us a little bit of background on what you did.
I'm headed over to Dale right now because he said he was not going to talk, but I'm going to force him to talk.
All right, so Chris, here's the question to throw to him. Why did you wait 25 years to restore this car?
Well, I didn't want to, but you just gotta wait till the time is right. And you know, you get to a certain age, you say, it's go time. I want to enjoy the car, and so it's full-on commitment. And I knew when I said it to Lee Hodge, he would get it done. When I can wait 25 years, but when I'm ready to go, I want to work on, and Lee was the man to do it.
So Dale was talking about the fact that Lee does keep his word to finish the car, does not go into body shop prison for 15 years. However, what he didn't tell you was that all the experts in the Mopar world have looked at this thing before it was ever touched by anybody to get restored. It was very, very important. So if you're one of those guys who likes going to point out all the flaws, like the 69 dash in here, no, that's how they delivered it. There's other parts in this car that are unique to this vehicle. This was probably the first set of 1970 stampings to come off of the die work and be put on a Chrysler body. This is a 1969 era chassis in some regards, but it's set up as a 1970 Roadrunner prototype. Is that correct, Dale? Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, so now
He
it's
says
Lee.
that's correct, Jeff.
All right, that's good. Now it's Lee's turn to talk about how much fun it is to chase parts on a pilot car.
And before I turn it over to Lee, I want to just follow up what you were saying about the experts in the Mopar world who have had their eyes and hands on this car. Galen Govier, who is walking around the show today, there is a letter from Galen to Dale in this booklet that's dated 2000.
Right.
So that's how far back it goes.
Yep.
So, Dale brings me this car, and we all know what it has to be. I was with Galen 25 years ago, 20 years ago, when we looked this car over to see what it was at a show in Georgia, Commerce, Georgia. And we looked the car over and we knew right then that's what it was. So it's been looked at by a lot of gurus. And as we came down, we kept finding more things. Parts in the trunk. Trunk braces have the only part number of all zeros and one.
Wow.
Put in this car alone, that's it.
Right.
The hood frame has small indentions where all other hoods have larger ones to put the emblem. The hood's not drilled. If you see on the front, there's missing chrome, and that's intentional. That's the way it left the factory. There's a lot of trial and error pieces on a 69 platform that turned out to be a 7. And this is the Pilot era.
So a pilot car is a car that they would hand assemble it to try to figure out, are we going to have problems on the production line? Let's say you can't get your hand up into that fender well to fit a piece in. Okay, we got to modify that piece of sheet metal. Let's say the trunk doesn't go together like you want. Every piece of this was dedicated to trying to figure out how do you get efficiencies out of production and what do we got to change to make sure when we begin, it works like it should.
And Lee, talk about the cable for the air grabber.
So some particulars you can look at from out here once we raise this hood. See that big stupid Hemi under there? There's a hole.
It's only stupid to the other guys.
I'm telling you. We just smile and wave.
That's true. You can play out the back window.
That's right. That guy trying to hit you so your headrest works.
Right.
So air grabber cables were on a 69 and you had a hole. Came right out, straight out to it. Opened up the air grabber flaps. So in this car is a 69 firewall, which allows that cable hole, it stays in the same place. 70, they moved it over to the passenger side. When we raise the hood, you'll see why. There's a voltage regulator change in 70, which was flat and larger, is actually in the place where that hole is for the air grip.
Interesting.
And
That's
you're going
very
to see
cool.
that inconvenience curve coming out.
Sure.
You're also going to see that battery tray. There's an inner fender well at the top with a slug in it where the bolt holds the bracket that holds the battery tray. It no longer exists because this radiator support was made for the 70 year, and the battery tray has attachment to that support. So there's
Interesting.
two different ones. And you're also going to see this radiator support is for a Dodge, and that did come in this car from the factory.
So how much of the forensics were done before you started, and how much of that was stuff you found out as you were going through process?
I would say we found 40 to 50% more new information when we started looking.
Wow.
And surprisingly, none of us at all noticed that radiator support until the day I was taking a picture of it, sending it to Dale, and said, look how far we've got. What is that? And so I went right back to the car, and I'm looking, and I'm going, do you see studs in that thing? What? So yeah, we went all around it. It's everywhere.
That's
it's
very
got all
cool.
kind of quirks.
Well, let's take a look under the hood here. Again, you can see this is an early car. There's no dust stripe down the side. There's no hood blackout on it. And why don't you point out real quick what you were talking about on that air grabber cable?
The fender tag also has a small paint missing at the front of the screw. You'll see the screws aren't painted. That was hanging in the window when it was sprayed.
Right.
And that's why you'll see those two different color screws holding that tag. Right here is your hoses.
Okay.
They should be coming from here. In
Okay.
69, they had a hole there. And the regulator was actually up higher, so it was clear there.
Right.
This was the first installation of this regulator, and that's where you'll find that the reason they moved that hole.
And you can see how close that is. So yeah, it made a lot of sense. You change that from a production tolerance standpoint.
On top of the radiator support. It'd be hard to see from out there, but you can lean over when you get ready to look. This is a 70 radiator support and battery tray, which are 70 only. 69 prior had a square and a brace that runs up to the top. But these are the three studs that we were talking about, which you attach brackets to hold the front clip on a Dodge. This was made prior to the Plymouth, obviously, and that's why it's in there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Dale, we're just going to say, if you don't want to be on the microphone, that's okay. But thank you for taking the time to do this right. I mean, when you bought this car, when Dale bought this car, this is the kind of car we'd buy in Philly to go street racing with. There wasn't much left when we were done. When he bought it, it was like one of those cars we were done with. It was bad. And he took the time to figure out exactly what it was. So again, great to have it here. Thank you, Lee.
Congrats. Another round of applause. Holly Hodges, Team Hodges Racing, and for Dale, the owner. Thanks, guys.